All right. So number one, challenge of the year, inflation. I'm going to say that I had not dealt with inflation. I don't think anyone of our age had either. And the interesting byproducts of that were noticeable for me. So it's not particularly, I'm not going to talk about this on a personal life front because I don't think that's the area that's appropriate for what we're reviewing here. But dealing with inflation when costs are going up in a business and dealing with margin compression. So I noticed this year particularly is that the challenges I faced when dealing with financials, an area I'd never been focused on before, was going, look, this cost is going up. It's going to impact our margin here. Hey, this is going up as well. We're going to have to deal with that. And it seemed like little insignificant things in the beginning. But when you compound that across an organization of our size, I was like, we really stand to be much less profitable across the year. Like it was,
totally.
I'll even say a little bit nerve-wracking. So to your point is like, it was in your wins about business model was like the solution to dealing with inflation was reshaping the business model. So it was actually changing what we offer and how we do it to be more profitable. Now, I did a little bit of prep on this. If we didn't change that, our whole year did not go well. We would not have given this year 9s. So I look at that and go, that was one of the big challenges. And the uncertainty of like, well, how much is it more? Is it going to go up?
Yeah,
like how much more are we going to have to deal with? So huge challenge.
Because I like that fact because when people think about inflation, they just think about their personal expenditure usually, or at least I do, and I'm fine with falling on that sword. But when you start looking at the second, third order consequences, it's like, okay, well, if my expenses are going to go up, whether it's rent, food, or otherwise, well, my employees are going to do it the same. Well, hang on. What about the money that's coming in from all of my other customers? Well, what about everything else that I'm buying, the tools that I'm paying for, etc.? And I'm just like, there are all of these other things that business owners need to think about where margin compression is the outcome if you don't react to it across the entire business. If you just try and react to it personally and not in the business, right, you'll just get, your margins will get squeezed and you'll just get pushed out.
You could end up very bloated. You could end up with a bloated
that.
organization unawareingly across the last year. And I think many did.
Played. Good call.
So definitely one of the big challenges. And then the second one, which wasn't too far off one of yours, one of the many, just again.
I was going to say, I just blanketed everything.
Balancing home life and business. Like I have a toddler and this year Jack was 2. I never get that back. He's only 2 once. And coming into this year, he'll be 3 once. And the thing I realized is that I want to do business, right? So they're very much the tear of like, it's not like I'm going, I hate what I'm doing in business and I have to do it and I have to sacrifice spending time with my son. It's like, no, I actually want to do business and I want to spend time with Jack. And these are continually things. And just this example, there's other things like whether it's my health or whatever it is, I've just called it balancing home life and business. But there's too many things I actually want to do. Like I want to train my body like I'm a professional athlete. I want to read books and do courses all days and educate myself. I want to network with people. I want to spend great time with Bianca and friends and family. I want to be a great dad and I want to do this business stuff. And I just looked at that and gone, that's a lot of stuff. It's actually not doable in the way I'm approaching it. So it's been a very tough thing to discern and decide where to spend my time to best find my own version of balance. I actually think balance is bullshit, but just setting up my life in accordance with my values and what's appropriate.
One thing that you do really well is like that self-assessment. And I don't know where you pulled it from, but I know that you and I, like we speak like all day, every day. But one of the things that you do very regularly is recalibrate and realign for that balancing. And I think it's something that is so underweighted and not mentioned enough because to your point, like it's like things will change. Sometimes I'm going to need to put more into business. Sometimes I'll put more into Jack because he's gone through something. Sometimes I'll put more into my partner and just recalibrating. I think that you do that better than anyone. So I completely understand why that would be a challenge. And I think that it's a challenge for a lot of people. They just might not be aware of it.
Yeah, so these actually came from DeMartini's work about voids. And it's like, if you do a Where's Wally book the first time, it's hard to find Wally, but then once you've seen him, it's like, oh, there he is. You start to notice it. Like you can only do the book once properly, and then after that, you kind of feel it. It's the same with voids. It's like for someone who's not used to feeling voids, they're not going to feel them or notice them. But for me, I through practice and the personal development work I've done this year, it's what I noticed was if I neglect my health. All right, so let's say I don't train in the gym and I eat poorly for a week, I'll feel a certain way.
Yep.
And that will be the trigger for like void forming, change something. But I've got them in all areas. So if I was to have a week which say is light on jack time, as this one here is the example, is like I'll feel that and then I'll put things in place to make those adjustments so it doesn't go too far off. I think for a lot of people though, they have to make this agreement where it's like financially I'm not in a good place. My agreement is to work my face off 24/7 and I'm just going to have all these voids over here and not deal with them. Where I don't have that excuse. I don't need to do that. So it's like, well, that's what makes that unique. But if people were being more in tune to it, like people can ignore their health for a long time if they're justified in making money. Or people like you see that. Or people can justify being a bad father because they need to go and earn for the family. But when you have means, you no longer have those justifications, and you need to acknowledge those things, or they can turn into terrible circumstances.
Totally. Yeah, I love that so much. Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into creating wealth inside and outside your business, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.